Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again. Today we are going to be taking a look at the interior for the clinic that we made not too long ago. And for those of you who didn't see the exterior tutorial, or maybe just want one more good look at the exterior, I will go ahead and fly around one more time so you can see the exterior of this build. And for those of you who have completed the exterior and are still kind of lacking some inspiration or just some ideas for things you could place into your own building to really make it look like a clinic and just kind of a bit more full, hopefully by watching this video you'll be able to gain some inspiration and just get some ideas for a few things you could place into yours. And keep in mind, my builds are very modular, so if you have too many ideas and not enough room to place them, you can always feel free to just move a wall a few blocks out, and you might have to do a bit of tinkering around with, a roof or two. But other than that, everything should still kind of look good in the end and just overall fit together quite nicely. So for the interior, I did try to give it a very busy look, and the reason behind that is because, like I've said in the past, the lore is kind of hinting towards a wartime era, and that being the case, you would start to see more and more soldiers come in and out of here. And not only them, because I'm sure they would probably have their own field medic or something, or even maybe just a doctor waiting back at the base or the fort, but say the city, the main one itself, was to get attacked, and there's going to be a lot of citizens in here by the end of that. So if they end up getting hurt and whatnot, you're going to start to see more and more of them trickle in and out of here. And that's kind of why this place looks so busy, and there's so many boxes and crates of ingredients and recipes and different medicines just lying around. So that's what you're kind of seeing right here. As for these bookshelf type things, you'll see they have cupboards and whatnot, and those are once again just, store ingredients or recipes or different types of medicines. But the bookshelf portions, those are the main things that, house recipes or say directions on how to cure certain diseases or fix different types of injuries and whatnot. So that's pretty much everything that's going on in this main initial area. Now for the back room here, although it is still on the first floor, you'll notice from the entryway it still is very secluded, and that's kind of due to the fact that it does have these walls here. And they're not necessarily full walls either, they're more so shades, and their main goal really is to provide some privacy to whatever patient is sitting here. And like I said, the patient goes there, and I didn't really designate a particular seat for the doctor or medic to sit, and that's mainly due to the fact that I really didn't think they would need to sit down for a long period of time. I thought they would mainly just be kind of, meandering around looking in shelves and different drawers for a recipe or a potion they might need to help cure the patient or give them some kind of a diagnosis. And speaking of a diagnosis, this is kind of what the paper here is for, so they can write that down, and maybe these are some other notes on what the patient could possibly be going through. And there's also, I guess you could either picture this as just some water to give the patient if they're feeling hot, or even just some kind of a potion to help them feel better. And by the way, this is a flower pot. You can get this by obviously having the Conquest texture pack, but you'll also need some other mods like World Edit if you're in single player, and also Optifine, which is the main thing that kind of allows you to see all these bonus textures and whatnot. And also some other things that aren't really default are these crafting tables here. You'll notice they look more so like drawers. If you want to see the normal one, that's what this one is here, along with the one left of that, and also this one here furthest to the left side wall. Some other things that aren't really normal are these chairs here, or benches. These in default will just be an oak wood plank, and there's also some other things such as these boxes and whatnot, which are once again oak wood planks, and I think these ones will be the full blocks. So even in default, it's really not going to look too bad. I'm sure a lot of people will still be able to kind of recognize what you're trying to portray, so if you still want to add these in, it really shouldn't be too much of a big deal. Moving on to the upstairs though, which is an area for patients who may need to stay longer, whereas the first floor is mainly for checkups or minor cuts and bruises. So we'll go ahead and move ourselves up that way, and as soon as we see the stairs here, you'll notice I did have to use a variety of materials, and that's just to kind of show you guys how cramped this actually was. And that's kind of why I mentioned that if you need to move things around, especially on the exterior, feel free to do so, because on these stairs I had to use a variety of materials such as stairs and half slabs in order to make it so the weary traveler wouldn't bump his head or get stuck. on this stairwell and hit that upstairs floor. So we'll come up here and you'll notice there is the second section here, which is indeed the sort of infirmary area, I guess you could call it. I'm not really sure if patients would end up getting operated on in here. You'll see the blood would just get everywhere and stain pretty much all the floors and walls. So maybe this is just for, I guess, if they had an arrow in them, I'm sure the doctor here might be able to pry that thing out. But if their arm's off, they're probably going somewhere else, or they're just flat out dead. But yeah, we have these stairs here to the left, which do in fact lead up to our wonderful balcony. And this is kind of the first time where I've actually placed a table and a chair out here. Usually I just leave it open for, you know, people to walk around and get a good view. But I figured if a patient is here for a long time, they may want to come out here and sit for a while and get some fresh air. Or even the doctor if they've been operating on some very bloody patient. But yeah, that's basically this area up here. Now, if we move down, I tried to make this very, I guess, family oriented. Since the patient is going to be here a while, you'll see if a family member wanted to come and visit, they would have this chair to sit down and even a nice little game of chess or checkers to play while they wait for their friend or family member to get well. But other than that, we have some more crates and boxes and whatnot for ingredients and other medical supplies to be stored in case, like I said, someone does need to kind of have their injury healed up or fixed. And there's also some bookshelves and, you know, other drawers and cupboards for recipes or directions on how to heal the patient. And I think the last thing we still need to cover is this back room here, which really is just some storage for some extra ingredients and whatnot. And that's kind of portrayed by these boxes with open tops that actually show what's inside of them. And like I said, these are just the oak wood planks. And if you're wondering what these are, it's just a Steve head, which is going to look extremely weird in the default texture pack, so please don't use this if you're in that one. But if you are in Conquest, it should look rather nice. And these really are kind of a nice alternative block to your standard sized chest, and that's kind of why I like to use them so much. But that's going to do it for today, guys. So hopefully by watching this, you were able to gain some inspiration and also a few ideas for, you know, a few things you could place on your own interior in case you were kind of lacking on ideas for that. But anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all your support and whatnot. Please feel free to let me know in the comments what you want to see next, because it is always nice to have a larger selection of builds and whatnot to choose from when coming up with a new idea. But like I said, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.